Welcome to this tutorial on Android Coroutines. In this video, we'll explore how to master asynchronous operations in Android apps using Kotlin Coroutines. Coroutines are a powerful tool that will help you write cleaner, more efficient code when dealing with tasks that take time to complete, such as network requests or database operations. By the end of this tutorial, you'll understand how coroutines work and how to implement them in your Android projects. So, what exactly are coroutines? Coroutines are lightweight threads designed specifically for asynchronous programming in Kotlin. Think of them as a way to perform tasks without blocking your app's main thread. They offer three key benefits. First, they enable non-blocking async operations, which means your app stays responsive even when performing heavy tasks. Second, they allow you to write asynchronous code in a sequential, easy-to-read style, just like regular synchronous code. And third, they provide efficient resource management, using less memory than traditional threads while handling multiple operations at once. Before we can use coroutines in our Android project, we need to add the necessary dependencies. Open your build.gradle.kts file and add two dependencies. First, add the coroutines core library with implementation open parenthesis, double quote org.jetbrains.kotlins-coroutines-core:1.7.3, close double quote, close parenthesis. Second, add the Android-specific coroutines library with implementation open parenthesis, double quote org.jetbrains.kotlins-coroutines-android:1.7.3, close double quote, close parenthesis. These libraries provide all the tools you need to work with coroutines in your Android app. Now let's launch your first coroutine. In your main activity class, inside the onCreate method, you can use lifecycleScope.launch to start a coroutine. The lifecycleScope is a special scope that's automatically tied to your activity's lifecycle. Inside the launch block, you can call suspend functions like fetch data. The important thing to understand here is that the code inside the launch block runs on the main thread by default, but it won't block the UI. The coroutine can pause and resume as needed, keeping your app responsive. Suspend functions are the building blocks of coroutines. A suspend function is a special type of function that can pause its execution without blocking the thread it's running on. To create a suspend function, you simply add the suspend keyword before the fun keyword. For example, suspend funFetchUserData returns a user object. Inside this function, you can use delay to simulate a network call that takes time. The delay function pauses the coroutine for the specified time, in this case 1,000 milliseconds or 1 second, without blocking the thread. You can only call suspend functions from other suspend functions or from within a coroutine. Dispatchers determine which thread or thread pool your coroutine runs on. Kotlin provides 4 main dispatchers. Dispatchers.main is used for UI operations and runs on the main thread. This is where you update your user interface. Dispatchers.io is optimized for input-output operations like network requests and disk operations. It uses a shared pool of threads designed for blocking I/O tasks. Dispatchers.default is designed for CPU-intensive computations like sorting large lists or parsing JSON. And finally, Dispatchers.unconfined is not confined to any specific thread. It's rarely used in Android development and should be used with caution. One of the most powerful features of coroutines is the ability to easily switch between different dispatchers. You can use the withContext function to switch the dispatcher for a specific block of code. Here's how it works. You start with lifecycleScope.launch, which runs on the main thread by default. First, you call showLoading to display a loading indicator to the user. Then, you use withContext open parenthesis dispatchers.io close parenthesis to switch to the I/O dispatcher for network operations. Inside this block, you call fetch from network, which performs the actual data retrieval. Once the data is fetched, withContext automatically switches back to the main thread, where you can call update UI with the data. This pattern keeps your code clean and sequential while efficiently managing threads. Sometimes you need to run multiple operations in parallel to save time. This is where Async and Await come in. The async builder starts a coroutine that returns a result. Unlike launch, which returns a job, async returns a deferred object that holds a future result. In this example, we use async to start two operations simultaneously, fetching user data and fetching posts. Both operations run in parallel, which means they happen at the same time rather than one after the other. To get the actual results, we call await on each deferred object. The await function suspends the coroutine until the result is ready. Once both user data and posts data are available, we can pass them to display profile to show the information to the user. This parallel execution can significantly improve your app's performance. When working with coroutines, it's crucial to handle errors properly. You can use standard try-catch blocks to handle exceptions in coroutines, just like in regular Kotlin code. Here's the pattern. Start by launching a coroutine with lifecycleScope.launch. Inside a try block, use withContext open parenthesis dispatchers.io close parenthesis to perform your potentially failing operation, such as fetch data. If the operation succeeds, you update the UI with the data by calling update UI. In the catch block, you handle any exceptions that occur. The catch block catches exceptions of type exception, and you can display an error message to the user by calling show error with the exceptions message. This pattern ensures your app handles errors gracefully and doesn't crash when something goes wrong. Let's wrap up with some important best practices for using coroutines in Android. First, always use lifecycleScope or viewModelScope for automatic cancellation. These scopes automatically cancel coroutines when the activity or viewModel is destroyed, preventing memory leaks. Second, always specify the appropriate dispatcher for your operations. Use dispatchers.io for network and disk operations, dispatchers.default for heavy computations, and dispatchers.main for UI updates. Third, handle exceptions with try-catch blocks to prevent crashes and provide a good user experience. And finally, avoid global scope for production code. Global scope creates coroutines that live as long as your application, which can lead to memory leaks and unexpected behavior. Following these practices will help you write robust, efficient coroutine code in your Android apps.
If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.